Now, ladies and gentlemen, for no new content update towards CSGO for a little over 200 days, let alone the first 2 months of 2023, we finally got one. Just a little under a week ago at this point in time, Valve decided to release the brand new Revolution case, the Espionage sticker capsule, and while you can't have any content update nowadays without some sort of music kit alongside that. Disclaimer, it's actually pretty good, probably the best one they've added. With any new update towards Counter-Strike, well, there's gonna be some problems, and this case is no different. The Revolution case came out with some pretty unique skins. People were happy, people were mad. Some of the reasons being the colors were popping too much. They thought it was to drive the Valorant players in. Also, this entire case was anime themed. For people who don't like that, really didn't enjoy this. But the juicy part, there was some stolen artwork. And while it didn't take too long to figure that out, as of today, Valve has tweeted out, made it official, and made the change, removing one of the skins from the case completely. It is no longer existing, and well, that's what I want to talk about in today's video.
Now, today's video sponsor is, of course, Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is currently the easiest and also fastest way you can buy, but most importantly, trade your CSGO skins. All you have to do is make sure you have your trade link, and on your first trade, if you have a leftover balance, it goes towards your current balance that can be used the next time you end up trading skins. It has 3 ways you can inspect, but most importantly has a very in-depth inspect feature that you can see corners on a Karambit, for an example, that you can't really see otherwise unless you have the item in-game. If you end up topping up your balance, make sure to use promo code MANDO to get up to a 35% deposit bonus and a free $5 on the first trade.
So I know I'm a little late to the party on this one, recording this at 3 a.m. when this update came out at 6:45 p.m. CSGO's Twitter has been on a rampage of tweets regarding future updates like the Rio removal that has been confirmed to be removed on the 20th, and now this. This was pretty much just a bubble ready to be popped where they were going to remove or at least alter the AWP DOODLE lore in the Revolution case, that being pink. So CSGO tweeted out, release notes are out for today. We've replaced all instances of the AWP DOODLE lore with the AWP duality in-game. This and more in today's release notes. So to actually dive deep into these blog posts, there's not really much, but what has changed a lot is, of course, the skin itself. We don't really care about this. All we really care about is this stuff right here. So if you have an AWP DOODLE lore, or did before this update came out, it has now been converted to the duality. This is what it was before, and well, this is what it looks like now. And it's not even the same skin. So before, in other instances, in previous years, dating all the way back to the Howl, they would just change the artwork on the weapon and keep that one in the game. It's happened to the Chantico's Fire, the Frontside Misty, the Royal Blue, the Scout Abyss, the M4A4 Griffin, and of course the notorious Howl. I'm not sure why people were trying to clickbait this, but also hype it up that this thing was possibly to be contraband, but Valve is kind of smart, a little too smart. And while they'd be catering to pretty much scammers and people who would want to rip off future artwork going into newer cases. Because if they made this skin contraband, the creator who ripped this skin off originally, he could have stockpiled a lot of these up, kept them for himself, and then sold them off later on when they were reaching probably $2,000 or $3,000. Now with them changing this is very good. And this caters to, well, the good side of Valve. And this is what we talked about in last week's video where we talked about the stolen artwork specifically. Valve makes too money for instances like this to happen. And this is really just going to continue to happen until the end of time. But if a case comes out, if we like certain skins, they should be certain that they're going to stay in that said case. Now, of course, things can be changed because it is up to them. And that's a great example right here. Now, the skin itself, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the newer version. I know it's not what everyone wanted. For this skin specifically, let alone this entire case, I feel like you're just on board with it or you're not whatsoever. This skin, though, I feel like just doesn't fit in, and I'm not sure why. People are calling this a budget Prince, even Gungnir, Dragonlord, you get the picture. Maybe a Mortis mixed in there, all had a baby. In game, it actually looks very, very nice, especially better than the picture, I'd say. But I gotta say, it feels like it's a purple, not a pink. I'm not sure why. Versus the Doodle lore, and this is where I think a lot of people were upset. One, they wanted an AWP kind of looking like the Neon Rider, the Neon Revolution, and the brand new Headshot AK, but that's not the case here, and I don't know if that's gonna happen, well, anytime in the future. And I think this might be a whole video on its own about the Doodle lore and of course the duality, but according to some comments and some comments on Twitter, the Doodle lore and duality have very different float caps. So some of the dualities are impossible to get now. So if you got a very high or low float, let's just say Doodle lore when it came out through an unboxing, maybe you bought it on Steam because you weren't able to use buff, that was the only way, that's it. You can no longer get those for the duality because it's just literally impossible, which that makes an interesting thing. And I guess you could say it's somewhat contraband in a certain way. Now, do I think a number 1 high or low float is going to be insanely rare because it was from the update before, essentially? Not really, and probably not, but obviously there is people, and that does have an audience for people who will and want to overpay. And as it goes for the M4A4 Temuka, I'm assuming Valve is either one, looking into it a little more, maybe there's some lawsuits and cease and desist letters behind the scenes that we're unsure and don't know about, but for right now, I would probably say that's going to stay in the game because it didn't look like it was stolen artwork in the first place. Overall, I'm extremely happy about Valve when implementing this update, but also not catering to scammers scammers essentially, where they would make this skin contraband, even though I don't think that was really an option from the beginning. I think I'm gonna have a whole video very soon, the next couple of weeks, on how CSGO and Steam and Valve all together, it's just an absolute gong show. There's so many problems when it comes to CSGO items on certain markets. The Steam market alone, I could talk about that for a whole video and how many problems that has, but some things need to be fixed, including this. How can we not have this happen in the next case? Though it only happens, I feel like every other year, maybe every 3 or 4 years, it shouldn't happen at all. Let me know what you guys think down below. Stay positive, stay sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.